All right, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. We've had just a whole host of issues this morning, which is really ironic because we went through a complete dry run last week and everything worked perfect. So we were going to start off with a really great video that we just had done about a year or so ago. Actually, Chris Lane, who's on our camera this morning, was the video producer that did a marvelous job. So since we can't show that this morning, I would ask that you go onto our website, which is norfolkgrowler.com. I've got business cards up here and take a look at it. It's really well done. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of have to think on our feet this morning, kind of change up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and skip over the video, go directly to a PowerPoint presentation. So let me tell you about Norfolk Growler Company. We're on 24th Street in downtown Norfolk in the Park Place area. We're right across the railroad tracks from Ghent. We're at the corner of Colonial and 24th Street. We are in a co-space, so we share the complex with some other people. Jerry Cronin was down the other day. Chris has been down to kind of look at it. We would open a tour to anybody who would like to come down. But Norfolk Growler really started, there's 5 of us that actually own the company. And one of the nice things for those of you that are in a and this is a group of startups, it's nice to have 5 owners. I will tell you that as sometimes that's a mixed blessing because you're going to end up with 5 different opinions. But what's really nice, I think, is to be able to bounce ideas off of your partners and to share ideas and concepts. We all come from different backgrounds. I'm purely on the business side. I'm not on the artistic side. We have very capable artists and ceramicists that are working on that, and we'll pass around growlers here in a few minutes. But essentially what happened is the Norfolk Growler started a couple of years ago, back in 2015, with an idea. They were sitting around one day drinking beer and enjoying beer and had seen a growler produced on the West Coast by a company called Portland Growler Company, which has become a great friend of ours actually over the last 18 months and kind of has helped us gear up our operations on the East Coast. But I got involved with it actually through my involvement with Hatch. Most of you know I was a business coach at Hatch for a year, working with Zach Miller, advising startups and what have you. And I got to know a fellow named Brendan Tompkins. And Brendan and I were chit-chatting about the growlers one day, and I thought, man, these are really cool. I mean, this is the neatest thing I've seen in a long time. I've never spent a whole lot of time in my business career in the manufacturing area, so I had to learn like the proverbial hockey stick, how you get things manufactured. It's fascinating, really. So anyway, so we went over a period of months of discussions, and finally they asked me if I would join the firm and bring in my capital and as well as my expertise. So the owners, can you skip, Steve? So this is I don't know what, just you can ignore that off the side. These are this is the owners of Norfolk Growler. Rick Nickel, who's a art professor at Old Dominion. Chris Nickel, his wife. Brendan Tompkins. B.C. Wilson works for a company called X-Tuple. And then, of course, me down here, and as you all know, I've been coming to 1 million cups almost since we started. Go ahead, Steve. So the biggest challenges that we've faced with a startup, and you know, it's one thing to start your business either as a franchise or you know, on a web-based business, but there's been all kinds of hurdles that we've had to face. Number one is turning a part-time hobby into a successful business. You know, it sounds like on the surface it's a great idea until you start really looking at the logistics and the mechanics. How do we take the growler operations from Rick Nickel's garage to a full-blown production studio? And that was a huge challenge. Brett, bless you. So we went from Rick Nickel's garage over in Park Place to a real production facility. Number 3 is bringing capital. All of you entrepreneurs know that really the survival of any business is capital. You've got to have money. If you don't have money, it's just a matter of time before you're going to fall off the grid. So they were struggling. I mean, they really were struggling, and whether or not to make a go of this or just to fold up their tent and just say the heck with it. Purchase new equipment. You know, this started out a lot of dumpster diving. You know, I mean, old rickety wheels and old kilns that don't work right. And, you know, it just was one thing after another. So one of the things that I did when I came in as a new investor was I started to say, you know what, we're going to buy some new equipment. Okay. We bought a new kiln. It was $7,000 from Scott, which is a computer controlled kiln. It's really state of the art. It runs in the off hours. You can program it to go to different cone levels, which is different temperatures and what have you. Number 5 is our first growlers had all kinds of issues. Now, when I pass these around and take a look at it, one of the issues that you'll notice is every growler at the bottom of it says Norfolk Growler on it. But what you don't see is there's a little lip right here. Okay? Now let me tell you something what that little lip means in manufacturing. If you look at a glass, look at most glasses, they've got a little lip on it. Okay? There's a reason for that. When you have a flat bottom growler like this and you put 64 ounces of cold beer in it, there's some kind of a reaction if it's too flat. By having that lip, you actually give it a little area in there in the middle for the air. What happened was we found out after a while that what was happening, because it's actually 3 pieces to the growler. There's 2 sides and then the bottom. And I'll talk a little bit about slip casting in a few minutes. But what was happening is this whole bottom was actually separating and splitting. So all of a sudden you'd open your refrigerator and the growler would be sitting there, the bottom would be split off, and the beer, of course, would be all over the fridge. So simply by changing the design of the bottom of it, and this is the kind of thing that you only learn through trial and error. The other thing is when I came on board number 6, you know, when I was at Hatch, I told people this all the time. For God's sake, get a business license, okay? Be legitimate. If you're going to be in business, have I already gone? Okay. Well, we got kind of, yeah. You know, so business, we had no insurance. I took care of all those things. And also number 7 is to meet the demand for a very unique product. So I'm going to keep going, Karen. Okay. So go ahead next. Since I got all screwed up this morning. Go ahead, Steve. Okay. All right. So one of the things that we did is our logo, as you can see, is the Battleship Wisconsin. And we are capitalizing on the local history with our naval history. Everybody loves the Growler. What's really funny is that they were sitting around one day, the number on the Wisconsin is the 64. And we just stuck OZ behind that for ounces. So we kind of capitalized on that. Go ahead, Steve. This is Rick Nickel, our president, the day that he and I were at the studio where the new kiln arrives. And these are big commercial grade kilns. Each one of these kilns, this is the computer module here. Each one of these are rings. Basically, a kiln is nothing more than a really big toaster. It's all ceramic, or it's all fire bricks on the inside. The lid opens up, and each one of these has got literally the same kind of elements that you see in your toaster. Go ahead. Putting up a sign. I mean, for the first couple of months, we didn't have a sign up. I said, how is anyone going to find this? So I work with a sign company here in Virginia Beach. We put up a sign. The sign is, everybody says it's not straight. Sign's straight. Fence is crooked. Okay? Go ahead. Okay. These are Growler, these are logos. We buy our sheets. There's a different process when you see these. These are actually silk screened, and these are actually decals right here. So it's 2 different processes, and we buy there's a company up in New York that actually does our logo for us. Go ahead. We've done work, for those of you that joined O'Connor's, we've done work for O'Connor's. This is their logo on a sheet ready to be cut. This would be cut 4 ways, and then this would go actually on the Growler. Go ahead, Steve. All right. We're also doing custom work, and that's really going to be, I think, one of the things we're really going to thrive on. This was done for somebody on the USS George Bush. Go ahead. This is one I really like, and I think this kind of plays on the Sailor Jerry, the old tattoo, the World War tattoo. This is a voluptuous little mermaid here in Norfolk. We kind of like this. Have a little fun, little pizzazz to it. So we're taking that. Go ahead, Steve. Also, you know, the whole World War II pinup. This is another one of our and the next one, go ahead, is Norfolk. This is obviously very vintage with the old bathing suit and what have you. The idea is to put as many different kind of things on the Growler as we can that appeals to different markets. Go ahead. You know, I met some people down at Hatch that did steampunk. This is kind of the steampunk theme. Those of you that are into that know what steampunk is. Go ahead, Steve. And of course, these are and I will give everybody this morning a sticker. As a matter of fact, if Karen or Brittany, David, you want to take one of these by? And a card. Yep, everybody gets a decal. Okay. So, and this is actually what you're going to get this morning. Go ahead. We also brought online, one of the things I also wanted to do is I didn't want us to just be Growlers. I wanted us to have a whole product line, a bunch of SKUs. So we have t-shirts that were printed here locally by Prince Inc. And we've also got hats that were also done here locally by a company called Covered, which is right near the Oceana Naval Station. So very nice. T-shirts are very, very soft. Go ahead, Steve. So our models right now are the gunpowder gray, the robin's egg blue, and then the white one, okay? Future plans, where we go in the future is where we have a lot of people want us to do beer steins, so that'll be the next thing we do. And those will be either individually or part of a set. We've had requests from the local distilleries to do flasks, old-fashioned flasks. We're going to expand our apparel line to go to embroidered items. We are thinking about a Kickstarter program, but I don't think we really need it right now. We've talked about having ceramics classes off hours, but right now we're firing growlers so much that we don't really have time for that. We're reaching out to universities, fraternities, military work, what have you. I'm very happy to tell you that we are, because of Karen Eagle, and thank you, Karen. Karen opened up some doors for us. We're actually getting ready to enter into a licensing agreement with ODU to do ODU branded growlers. And there's a whole step that you have to go through to do all that. And I think we're going to move to a larger production studio, hopefully in a year, with more kilns and more staff. So thank you on behalf of Norfolk Growler. Have a cold one. I'll answer any questions that you might have. We'll pass around a growler. The growlers are for sale. They're $70 a piece. T-shirts are $25 and hats are $25. We'll give everybody a 1 million cups discount, and I have my square with me. Yeah.